got a brilliant idea. Well, to be fair, it might be a stupid idea, but we're going to find out. Cursorless has a keyboard interface because apparently some people still use keyboards. So the problem is that the Cursorless keyboard interface is still very rudimentary. It was just like a 2-day POC that I threw together. And it's missing tons of stuff. So you can basically, here's a quick demo. So you go into Cursorless keyboard mode, you see that it flashes like a box instead of a line. And then let's say I wanted to target like D is for default color and then like P. So default pit. So you can see that makes that highlighted. And then you can have something to like highlight to then target a scope. So I will target the line. And then you can do actions. So for example, like C will clear it and leave your cursor there. Cool. So that would be the same as like change, what was the mark? Change gust if it was a G, right? Cool. So that's the basics of how the keyboard, Cursorless keyboard works. As you can see, I don't really use it because I code by voice, but there are some people using it, but it's still quite limited. So we need to make it more powerful. In order to do that, so it's a modal keyboard interface, right? So you switch into like Cursorless keyboard mode and then just normal keyboard keys. You don't need to press control or any of that stuff, right? It's like a bit like Vim or I think Helix is modal, a number of these, right? So it's like a bit more ergonomic, better for your wrist because you're not constantly mashing modifiers, a bit more efficient, etc. I don't know. If you're a Vim user, I don't need to convince you. I was for 10 years. So we want to add more stuff to it, right? And the thing is, it starts to get pretty complex because you want to be able to say things like next funk or like every funk. You want to say like air past bat. You want to say air and bat. You want to be able to, if you're not familiar with the voice terms, like air past bat would make a range between two of these things. Air and bat would select two of them at the same time that you want to target. Or next funk would be, well, that's like the next function, right? Or for example, another thing you can't do in this currently is I can target shapes and I can target colors, but there's no way to target a colored shape, right? And so what we need is some more sophisticated way of defining the chains of keys that you can press. And I started building this stuff and it started to get pretty ugly. And so then I had this idea, this thing that I'm calling a state machine, or an automaton, where you basically just go from state to state, and depending on what text you see, what keys come in, you transition to different states. And in retrospect, it's completely obvious. Like an automaton or a state machine is literally just like designed, like it's a language over text. So in retrospect, it's completely obvious. So that's my brilliant idea, to build a generic state machine mechanism. Now I should probably use something like XState. I've heard good things, but I figured we'll probably want to layer on top of it anyways. The other thing is it seems like we want slightly tighter integration with the way, like, so for example, if you know the set of keys that can transition, you can start to do slick things. Like for example, voice mode cross, show settings JSON, scout doc keyboard, clap, crown this flay, drowse. So you can see here, I have these notice I have these, here's a good example, like scopes, right? So you can see I have these scopes like J or I is for line, P is for paragraph, N is for statement, right? And so these are all like single character ones. And then for this is just a convention, but for the ones which are not single character, for scopes, I always prefix them with an S. For the ones that are slightly less common, same with action, I prefix them with an A. And so one of the Cursorless contributors got really excited about keyboard and started hacking on it himself, ended up rebuilding everything instead of using the engine we have. So I'm trying to now integrate those ideas into the engine that we already have. really good ideas though. So one of the ideas that I want to steal is basically, so for example, if I'm just at the top level, right, and I want to target a function, right, I have to say SF to target the function, right? But let's say, so, we'll add something which is like next, right? And that would be maybe like N or whatever, right? That's going to be one of these top level bindings, right? These are all top level bindings. If I press N, well, we want to reuse these scopes, right? So that you don't need to relearn like a whole nother set of key bindings for like next, every, previous, fifth, etc., right? But so you want to reuse these, but on the other hand, it seems kind of silly if I press N for next, right? The only thing that can follow it is a scope, right? So to have to press two keys is silly. So his brilliant idea was to just try to drop the first thing. And if it doesn't result in a conflict, then you can do that. So I could be able to say NF, and that would be next function, right? Or well, okay, I'm already using N for statement, but assuming I wasn't, right? NS, whatever it is for statement, or NP, those would work, right? So it's like, we want to be able to leverage the fact that we know the exact set of transitions and we know that they're key bindings to try to like shorten the things that you can type. So this is all a justification for not using XState. I probably maybe will eventually, because there's lots of really cool stuff you get out of it. You can like visualize them and all kinds of stuff. But for now, I think it should be pretty simple, and it'll be fun to build a little state machine. Plus, it'll be some nice TypeScript stuff. So that's the idea. So let's find out whether it was a terrible idea by trying it. So you can see here this implementation. This is like kind of this is like what I'm calling the root layer of the key binding. So this was like my initial idea as I tried to refactor is like, oh, I'm going to do layers like key maps, but that started to get really ugly. But so this is the origin node or the start node of the state machine. Okay. And so you can see these are the transitions that are allowed to come out of the start. And so each one of these corresponds to one of these sections. And so what we're going to try and do is basically build up a state machine. And so I think let's maybe just start by like building some of the types. Voice mode, doc make keyboard state machine, scratcher, hammer keyboard state machine, clap. Drowse. Okay, and let's put this over here. Cross drowse. Okay, so let's make some interfaces. So I guess like top level interface will be called snip face state machine. Camel initial state is type. Nope. Camel initial state, stack void, proud state. Drowse. Okay, so it's going to be, yeah, it'll be state. Proud state. Flay. Drowse. Okay. So we should probably define what a state is. Well, let's say the next thing is like, what states do we have, right? And I think this we can probably make as like a map. So it would be like, so yeah, this would be like maybe a state ID, proud ID, scratch. Pour word states, stack void, proud record, diamond, bring pink spun, spam. Proud state. Drowse. Okay, this looks fine. So now let's define what a state is. Pour block, snip face state. Drowse. Okay. And then, so we have state, and a state is going to have transitions, obviously. Word transitions, stack void. Drowse. Yeah, so that's looking close, Copilot. But I think we want to be do we want to be more strongly typed than this? I don't think so, because I think basically I think a string is fine because it's just like a string of keys that someone's going to press. So yes. drink, ink drum, stack void, yes, disk, drowse. Okay. So yeah, that's a state ID. Right. So then, yeah, we'll probably make this like parameterized on state ID. Okay, so we have transitions. And then, I think the transitions, so yeah, okay, so transitions are going to be a bit more complex than this, right? Because it's not like like, yeah, it's like things can happen when so like, okay, so on a transition, like, I think states should be able to be parameterized, right? Because like, for example, if I come into a state where I'm allowed to pick a color for a hat that I'm going to use, when I'm coming into that state, that could either be from the root level where I'm like adding a new version of that, like I'm just directly selecting that thing, right? So it would be like, should I turn on, it might be, you can turn on like the keyboard overlay mode, but it might look really weird with voice commands coming in. So maybe let's not do that. We can try it. What is it? It's like presentation mode. What is it? Oh, screen canvas mode. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we'll use this for right now, but if it gets ugly with voice commands, we'll bail. So for example, if I want to like target like this, put my target, you can't see where I'm pointing, obviously. If I put my target here, right, I would do like D and then / and that would target this, right? But then if I then go like D and W, that replaces the old one, right? And so what I want is like a state where like I can make a range, right? So I wanted to do like this past that, and right. So like when you're coming in, there's still the same set of things you can press, which are like keys, but now you're parameterized, which is like, am I going to override the state, the current thing? And we can actually see that cross pop doc targeted. Drowse. Yeah. You get this weird read command description. Yeah. So maybe that's not so helpful. I should really create a command to toggle it. Maybe like copy command. Tune Talon pop doc vancake. Pop doc vancake point Talon voice mode. Pour file snip command key dog. Disk pop sesh. Drowse. Okay. I use dog as short for toggle. So I have like term dog to like toggle the terminal, side dog to toggle the sidebar, theme dog to toggle between light and dark. So anyways, I probably would use switch if I were making it again, but it's stuck. So now I can say key dog. Drowse. Okay, cool. So I can turn that on and off when I need to. Right. So we have this target decorated mark, right? And cross pop last. Dock open. Drowse. So you can see this, like when I press a color, it calls this function target decorated mark and passes in the color as that color, right? But you can see there's this thing called mode here, which is replace, right? So by default, when I do, as you saw, like if I like do key dog drowse. So when I do like that to like go into cursorless mode, and then I press like DN, that is going to target that thing. But if I do DH, it replaces it, right? And so, however, key dog flay drowse. So voice mode drowse. I'm all over the place. I don't usually switch back and forth. Some people do combine keyboard and voice. I don't quite have a workflow for it. if you see here, replace will basically just execute the cursorless command, but we have implementations for like range and append. They're all right here. We just need to pass that thing in, right? So popping the stack a bunch, the point is that like when you come into a place where you're pressing a color to do target decorated mark, you need to carry this piece of state along, right? So we need these states to be parameterized, which is like, for example, like, okay, what is the mode that I'm going to target with decorated mark? Okay, fine. Cross, pop last, pop last, pop last, pop next, list doc, drowse. Where did that thing go? There we go. Okay. So we have keyboard state machine here, right? Okay, we have state machine. Yeah, and so the point is these transitions, I think we want them to be a bit more sophisticated, right? So let's maybe just call it like transition. Let's see how that goes. Clear blue drum, proud transition, poor block, snip face transition, step push, proud transition, south, scrape south, drowse. Okay, cool. Yeah, I recently dropped my speech timeout. I was at 450 milliseconds. It's how long Talon waits before it like cuts you off because you haven't been speaking. And so it like higher gives you more chance to think. Lower makes things snappier because it's not waiting as long. And so I was at 450 for like a year and a half, and I highly recommend going higher. It encourages you to chain commands together and not do short, choppy commands, gives you time to think, helping you learn cursorless. It forces you to stop, wait, and then chain command, etc. But after like a year or more, like once you start to feel really fluent, I did it for like I was recording a TikTok video and I dropped it because I wanted to be snappy for TikTok, and then I haven't looked back. It's only been 2 days, but we'll see how it goes. Anyways, if you see Talon cutting me off, that's because I'm still getting used to this new shorter timeout. Okay, so we've interface transition here, right? So great. So I think like destination. We're destination, stack void, bring red spun. Drowse. Yeah, so I think chuck last car, blue drum, drowse. Okay, so this is the state that we end up at. I think we probably, we either want to make this nullable or we want some sort of utility function to like, because the thing is like, sometimes it should just execute something and then go back to like initial state. So, I mean, I guess like we could, I think it's going to get repetitive if we're constantly saying we have to go back to initial state. But let's leave that for now. So, okay, destination. And then we have like, I think we can have an optional thing that happens. Yeah, so poor. Word action, drowse. Wow. Nice, Copilot. Pretty close. I think I want a promise, but pretty good. Yes. Diamond wrap value, pre that proud promise. Diamond wrap type. Nope. Diamond wrap red vest, pre that proud promise. Drowse. Okay. Yeah, I guess I was outside the semicolon, so that's why type didn't work there. I feel like maybe it should have, but I guess I wasn't in the lambda, so borderline. Borderline. I think that should have worked. Maybe I'll file that. Copy line, cross, issue make. Clear line. Sense, type void, phrase scope doesn't work. Flay. Poor click red trap, phrase scope doesn't work when you're after the semicolon. Take end of line bat. Void. Word type. Yes. Spam word bug, poor block. Sense in the following code. Stack clap twice. TypeScript block. Chuck green brick, bring block pink ink. Poor block sense. If your cursor is just after the semicolon, scratch void, word semicolon. Scratcher, ski, semi, tail, spam. Phrase, type should refer to void ski, bring 4 clicks, blue pit. Ski wrap past third car, cross trap. Ski wrap past third car, play trap. Pre that void. Quad wrap pink York, ski wrap that. Bring long paint pink York to red trap. Disk. Issue save. Cross. Drowse. Okay, there we go. We filed an issue. Okay, so we have action, goes to promise void. Yeah. Also, that seems odd that it was like with that colon void thing. Flay. Move red semi to box equal. Nope. Move red stack to play. Nope. Drowse. Yeah, that thing, they're cutting me off when I need to think. I'm borderline on it. Move red semi to pink wrangle. Move red stack to pink wrangle. Disk. Drowse. That looks better to me. I don't know why my brain kept saying semi. It's late here. Maybe I'm tired. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So we have an action. I think this should be optional. Step quest, disk, drowse. Okay. And then we have... so you have a destination, which is the state that you go to. And then I think potentially there's like a state. I don't know if that's the state is the wrong word, but like maybe parameters or arguments to the state. Like so it may need arguments because I think these states are going to be parameterized. Yeah. Poor. Word arguments. Yes. Drowse. Okay. But I think we want to be more strongly typed than that. So I think we want probably like, because like you're transitioning to a destination and that destination will have some arguments that it supports. So post pink trap, diamond, ship trap. Flay. Drowse. Yeah. And then, so I think, like, do we need state ID to be parameterized to indicate what arguments are allowed to the state? And then I think we need to say, like, extends array. We have cross, popdoc listener, popdoc notifier. Drowse. Yeah. Okay. So we want to use like this kind of thing that we've used before. Yeah. Bring block air before pink ink. Bring core red drum to red trap. Cross disk. Drowse. Yeah. Okay. So like these are like the arguments. And then I think I wonder if we just want it to be an object, like maybe an array is kind of unnecessary. Yeah, let's just use T. Nope. Disk, drowse. Okay. So right. So these are the arguments to the state, and so I think this is going to need to be T. Bring click to type pink urge. Disk drowse. Okay, so those are going to be the, like, let's just call it argument, I guess. Chuck last car green risk. Drowse. Okay. And then, so I guess, yeah, I guess let's not make it optional for the time being and like maybe have a sensible default because the state is going to want this. So, yeah. Chuck red quest, post box spun, diamond, ship trap. Drowse. Okay. So I think this is good, right? So this argument will become the argument destination. It almost feels like state or like something. We'll have to docstring it. So I think a state should have bring diamond after just pink spun. Bring source after just red spun. Bring diamond after just red spun. Drowse. Okay, so that's state ID, state, and then transition. Yeah, so these transitions here, right? I think these I don't have a parameter to put here, so I think let's leave that for now. So okay, so then state ID will yeah, so I think we can create some states now. And let's maybe like create let's create some states just to make this concrete. Cross, pop last. Pop last. Get status. Disk Oliver. Drowse. I don't know what's going on with this file. Oh, yeah, let's just reset that. I think something went weird there. Okay. So, in this file, we have these keyboard commands. Yeah. Okay. And so like we want to turn these we want something which is like the root state. So maybe let's just make that here. Let's just mess around and see what it would look like. Zen mode, cross, pour file. Pour file. Coder. Pour file. Right. So let's just make a Strauss flay. Clear line. Scratcher. Snipcon state machine. Nope. Snipcon type state machine. Bring second alpha file. Next. Curly clap. Drowse. Interesting. Okay, quite an aggressive ante from Copilot. Like initial state, yeah, I guess I think I want to call it root because it's like kind of the thing we keep coming back to. So I think I want to call it root. Bring pink ink, stack void, string root. Patch drip. Word states, stack void. Curly clap, word root, stack void, curly clap. Yes. Chuck next line. Disk. Drowse. Okay. So, flay. Drowse. Okay, so we have initial state is root. The ID is root. The duplication's a little weird there. We can start to tighten up these types here, I think. Yeah, we can tighten these things up. But for now, let's see. Okay, so we have root, and the transitions from root, right? So like we have a transition for each action. And so basically, this is going to, so let's pour state bolt York. Cross. Doc open. Drowse. I think I was in a diff editor there. Chuck line. Drink. Puff this. Tab twice. Scratch. Bring state ears made. Disk. Drowse. Okay, let's start building this here where we actually have access to stuff. One thing is there's some like fanciness baked into here, which we probably want to pull out. But I think we're gonna want to, so let's pull the processing of this out. Falling bolt harp. Drowse. Yeah, this thing which like looks up the config and does all that. That I think we want somewhere else. This is the thing which like reports key maps. Yeah. So I think let's create a okay. Let's where are we? I should really close some of these tabs. Okay. So let's move this over here. I should really have a voice command for like move this editor to the right one. Please move editor. Drowse. Ah, there we go. Into previous group. That's probably what I want, right? Let's see. No. Please move editor. Drowse. Into, there's so many. First group, previous group. I just kind of want to swap it, right? I just want to move it to like the other group. Next group, right group, left group, last group, group above, group below, first group. I don't want any of these. I just want to move. Huh. Okay. Well, I guess right group or I guess right group. Yeah. Yeah, so like doc move left, doc move right. I think that might work. Please move editor. Copy command. Flay. Tune Talon. Pour snip command doc move right. Take box gust, clone line, word left. Clear fourth sub red made, proud left. Disk, drowse. Surely the other one is that. Okay. Pop sesh. Doc move left. Doc move right. Doc move left. Flay, drowse. Cool. All right. Yeah, all right. Handle section. Right. So we want to create, like, we want to extract that out into a little function. So let's do that. Yeah, and like section name, I feel like we don't really need any of that stuff. So yeah, like I think, yeah, this should, yeah, okay. Like this should just be like a readable name. of the section. I think that's probably like this should be just the ID is like section name dot value. So yeah, fine. So if we want to do this, let's extract quick fix state pink vest. Flay. Drowse. Yeah, so there's, okay, we merge. Yeah, okay, I think both of these two, right? We merge, we get the user overrides, etc. Yeah, and then these like section name and value thing, that should just be like ID. Yeah, okay. Quick fix two states pink vest. Drowse. It's interesting that there's these, now these, I didn't realize I had keyboard shortcuts for these. And it's interesting that it shows them to you. That's like a new VS Code thing. That's cool. It's interesting they all have the same keyboard shortcut though. That's interesting. So yeah. South. Choosing 3. Drowse. Ooh, it even grabs like the type parameter there. That's interesting. So yeah. Camel get key. Camel get section key map. Clap. Disk. Falling this. Disk. Drowse. Okay. So yeah, so this is the thing that just like grabbed the key map for the section. And I think, yeah, what does it return? Yeah. Okay. Right. So it returns the like, yeah, it looks up the defaults, merges them, etc. Because I think that's what we're going to use for these sections. So let's, okay. So let's quick fix func. Choosing 4. Prefile. Falling gust. Bring value red made to blue kick. Chuck line source. Quick fix func. Choosing 3. Disk. Pop last. Quick fix 2 blocks ink. Choosing 2. Falling this. Clear near hammer section name. Imports fix. Disk. Drowse. Okay, cool. So we have this get section key map thing now. So yeah, let's just quickly like handle action. And I think yeah, it's almost like we want to return something which it doesn't map to like T. Like we kind of want to we want like we want it to have like a unique ID, you know, and then like a value, I think, and a key. I think, or yeah, I guess we map from the key and then be like the ID and the value, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what we want. So, yeah, because it basically just for that error message with the conflicts. But okay, let's not worry about that for right now. Cross. 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 Poor block. Snip con action key map. Bring gust, round, bring string, blue air, spam, bring score. Imports fix. Disk. Drowse. Okay, so this thing maps from, right, it's key map, which is basically it just maps from like a string, falling blue kick. Drowse. A key map just maps from string, like which is like keys, like this what the keys you're gonna press are to the value, right? So it's like cross show settings JSON. Drowse. It's like it's one of these, right? So it's like we're mapping from these keys to the like these are like action names, right? So this is literally this would satisfy the type. Pop last. Drowse. Okay. So we have this thing which maps from like actual key sequences to these, right? And so looking at transitions, right, we decided that the transitions, the keys of the transitions are going to be actual key sequences that you press, right? So we're going to want to do like pour wing trap, pebbles, bring blue air, drowse. And then yeah, okay, but so we got to be a little bit careful here, right? Because if we're not careful, then what's going to happen is if there is a conflict in the maps, we won't detect it. So it'll just like silently just replace it with like whatever later one is, right? And not only is it direct conflicts, right? If I have a key which is like A, and that's just one of the transitions, then I can't have something which is like A, B, because A will have already issued a transition, right? So not only can you not have things be equal, nothing can be a prefix of anything else, right? And so I have this logic here. Cross pop last, drowse. You can see in this like layer, we have this thing where we basically just we look for conflicting map entries. And by looking at prefixes and stuff like that, right? And so we need something like this. We can't just be like, hey, great, just like pebbles, like spread the things. So that's something we got to do here, right? So I think probably what we need is something that, given a set of bindings, we give it like I think we need to give it like a list of these bindings, and it will tell us what the conflicts are, right? I don't think we just give it a map, even though like a map looks nice. Like it looks like you want it to be a map. I think really what we need is a list. So cross PopDoc state machine, drowse. Yeah, so I think we want to make it so these transitions, I think they need to be a list of transitions. And it would have like, yeah, and we would just say like key sequence or text, maybe key sequence. I don't know. I've been using text elsewhere, so let's call it text. Drink green trap word text is type string. Bring green oats to its type. Disk. Post that square. Disk. Cross. Drowse. Right. So I think this is yeah. I think this is how we have to do it. I guess to be fair, the end state is a map. So this is more sort of like when we're constructing it. So we probably want something which is just like construct state machine and you pass it in these things, right? So yeah, maybe we should do it that way. Cross. Nope. Copy line. Nope. Disk. Drowse. I think I may leave this thing in there because because I think it might be useful. I think potentially the like preserving the section ID, the section name, and the ID are may be useful as well. Although, yeah, they don't always have a unique ID because we have some, like one of the new things that we support is like you can just map a keyboard shortcut to an arbitrary VS Code command with potentially with arguments and all sorts of stuff like that. And that it's not like you're mapping the right hand side. It's just like the name of an action ID. The right hand side is like an actual like object. So really it's just something for like printing it. So like maybe let's just call it like name. Drink word name is type string disk drowse. Okay. So that's fine. Then right. Okay, cool. Name is type string, text is a string, that's like the actual text that you type. Fine. Okay. So I think we want cross drowse. So yeah, we're gonna have something which just says like create transitions, and that is what's gonna detect the any problems. Clear curly, camel create transitions, round bring blue air. Disk. Quick fix green cap. Yes. Clap. Coder. Quick fix green cap. Clap. Falling that. Falling green cap. Disk. Drowse. Yeah, that's a TypeScript fail. Clear core diamond green look. Proud action. Choosing 4. Disk. Drowse. Okay. So yeah, so this creates transitions. I think really this is going to be key map unknown. Scratcher, type unknown. Pre-kick pebbles. Post course square. Disk. Clear next line. Drowse. Okay, so this is going to create transitions, and so this is where we're going to actually want to detect conflicts. So we're going to move some of the code from the other place. Cross. Pop last. Drowse. So here we have section, and we have this loop is what we want here, right? If we do that, we already have the key map. So I guess let's try just like moving this stuff in here and see what happens. Cross. Bring state blue fine. Disk. Drowse. Okay, so yeah, we want this like merged key map that we're going to return. Yeah, and so I guess, yeah, so right. Okay, so I think we probably do want a type parameter because like, so the root transition, I don't think we know what the type is, but like for later ones, I think we do. So let's just say Post blue cap, diamond, ship trap, make extends, bring green urge. Clear green plex, equal. Clear green urge, ship trap, disk. Drowse. Okay, right. And so we're going to return, I guess, just like a merged key map, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is, we could just call this like merge key maps. Rename blue cap, camel merge key maps, clap, disk. Form all down at last sub name, disk. Nope. Rename last sub name, word maps, clap, disk. Drowse. Yeah, you got to do a rename. And that's using a trick. If you say rename and you target a piece of a word, it'll leave your cursor there in the word for easy chaining. Rename last word name. Rename last sub name. Drowse. And you can see it mirrors the selection there, so you can chain it. Kind of cool. Flay. Blast. Disk. Pour snipcon key map. Nope. Snipcon type key map. Bring type York. Scratch twice. Next. Curly. Disk. Pour next state. Make return. Bring green each. Disk. From core, bring red each to every view red made. Disk. Imports fix. Disk. Spike func. Drowse. Okay, so we got this key map. Puff state box risk. Disk. Drowse. And now we're iterating through it. We, oh yeah, get conflicting map entry. Yeah, it's almost like we're just like recreating this class here. Which, but like the thing is, this is only very tangentially part of this. Like really these could go into little functions here because all they're using is like this.merge key map. There's no other references to this, right? So I think we could just have these where it like passes a key map and text, and like arguably they should sit on their own. So move to func's fine after its class. Prefine and bolt fine make func. Nope. Prefine and bolt fine make func. Make function. Disk. Drowse. Yeah, it's pretty rare I use function on its own. I always use a snippet, but in this case I needed it. Okay, right. And so you just like have a key map, yeah, where you don't care what it is. Is this optional? Because like I feel like yeah, I mean yeah, like at that point, like really, yeah, I mean, okay, fine. Drink argue plex and bolt trap. Camel key map, stack void, bring type York. Scratch twice. Tug, scratch, type unknown, disk. Drowse. Okay. So, yeah, so this gets the conflicting map entry. Okay, so for this one, it's just unknown. We don't care what it is. Bring name to core made and ears drum. Drowse. Oh yeah, this should not be name. Yeah, I should file that too. Pre-argue. Curse undo. Curse undo. Drowse. Yeah, this is something I'm trying to get in the habit of. So I think what I want to do is like, so we don't support like a grand scope. So like, okay, first of all, arguably this should not be name. Second of all, we should support grand scopes. So if it were supposed to be name, you could say grand name and it would give you this name. However, there's a habit that I'm trying to get into, which is that because we're fully compositional, you can chain now. What if you want the name of something, say the thing you want the name of. So in this case, it would, so blast. Bring name arg to core made and cross made. Drowse. Yeah, so name arg, right? Because that first expands to the argument and then takes the name of that. So if I wanted the function name, we have func name, but really we shouldn't, that predates full compositionality. You can say name func and that'll give you the name of the function. Name class type func will give you the return type of the function because it'll first expand to this. That's the domain of this type. Visualize type. Drowse. Visualize name. Drowse. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot of names. Visualize type. Drowse. So you can see if I say type here, I get this. But if I say type func, first that takes func, and then I'm on the domain of this function, so that gives me this type. So I'm trying to get into this habit of saying like name func, type class, type. It's or like chaining them like that. So anyways, it worked in this case, right? I said type argue. Arguably, I'm sorry, name argue. Arguably, this shouldn't have been a name, but anyways, habit I'm trying to get into. Visualize nothing. Drowse. Okay, so we have key maps, right? Okay, fine. So this, oh yeah, this should all be key map, not key maps. From tail file red urge, chuck last car every view brow kick. Drowse. Cool. View or instance can make for some pretty fun chains. So fine. We now have key map there. And right. So in the top one, unknown is fine. In this one, we actually want the type. So post green gust, diamond, ship trap, clear brow whale, ship trap. Nope. Clear brow whale. Nope. Drowse. It's interesting. Yeah. If there's a squiggle here, at least when it's late at night, I have trouble seeing the top of wing. Clear wing whale, ship trap. Flay. Bring click to box whale. Nope. Bring click to box whale. Drowse. Yeah, this key handler thing, I'm not entirely sure about. I feel like that's an old thing, but yeah. Because like, why doesn't it just return the other value? Okay, we'll worry about that later. For now, quick fix 2 funcs backward. Drowse. Wow. I feel like they've added a lot. We recently bumped to TypeScript 5.2. I feel like it added a bunch of stuff. Wow. I would move to file. I'm really excited about that one. I still haven't used it yet. We've only upgraded a couple days ago. Okay, let's move this to a new file. Cross. Imports fix. Drowse. Okay, so that shouldn't have a this in it. From core, chuck every view, 2 clicks, play harp. Disk. Drowse. Okay, so yeah, so imports fix. Disk. Drowse. It should be able to find this, right? I moved this to the file. Cross. Drowse. Oh, I bet they didn't get exported because they're not actually used here. Git status. Doc open, side dog. Pre every func, make export, disk. Spike stroke. Cross, imports fix. Disk. Drowse. Right, so okay, so what is it using here? Right, okay, so we need to give it the key map. Bring green each before entry ears York. Disk. Drowse. Right. Oh, is anyone using this as prefix? Maybe it's just used here. No. Drowse. Yeah, maybe it's just used somewhere else. So fine. Let's not worry about that. Okay, so we have if conflicting entry is non-null. Yeah, exactly. And so these things need IDs in order to what time? How long have we been going for? Oh, about an hour. I feel like that's a good amount of time. Of course, we didn't get far enough to figure out whether it was a good idea or not, but hopefully you learned something along the way. And we'll see where this goes. Look out for a PR soon. Thanks so much for watching, and happy coding. Record stop.